Hey everybody, Robert here. I got to tell you what just happened. I was doing a test run here on the video, and as you can see, I've got the whiteboard up here, and I kind of got my mouse and my my pen and tablet and everything kind of confused, and I went to play back this preview clip, and I clicked on my virtual mixer over here, and it shot up way past as high I mean, it was as high as it would go, and of course I got the subwoofer and the speakers, and it just blew the walls down in here, and I had the window open, so I think everybody for a 10-mile radius got to hear me hollering about a switch and this, that, and the other. So anyway, it kind of freaked me out, so I thought I'd share that with you. But anyway, we're gonna do something a little different today. I do have my coffee, of course. It may not be Linux in a coffee, but we'll talk a little bit about Linux. But anyway, I wanted to tell you that I have purchased a new Dell PowerConnect 16-port switch, a 2816. Well, it's not brand new. It's I think manufacturer refurbished. I got off eBay for, I think it was $112, something like that. But I have a 2708, and I just love that switch. It's been a very good switch, very stable, high throughput. And I haven't had any complaints or problems with it, so I wanted to stick with the PowerConnect switch. It's fully managed, and it's they're both gigabit, but so I was out of ports on my 2708. I had it full, and so I wanted to buy this new switch to give me some more ports to work with, and because I'm constantly adding stuff, and here I am doing it again. But so then I got to thinking, well, now I'm going to have two switches, so what can I do with that extra switch? Because the 16 port will now become my main switch. So I thought, well, I'd sure like to create a DMZ zone just for my ESXi host, and to separate, you know, the servers running on that host, the web server, the mail server, all that good stuff, from my internal LAN, just as an added layer of security. And then of course, you know, I'm always got the wheels turning here, so I started thinking, well, if I do that, and if I do it, there's a couple of different ways I could set this up. I could either run off of my main Linux router box. I have 3 ports on it, so I could have one coming in from the internet, and then I could have one going out to one subnet, one going out to another subnet. Just go directly to the DMZ zone out of one, and then go out of another on a separate subnet for my internal LAN. But then my internal network wouldn't be able to communicate with that DMZ zone, which is kind of the whole point of that. But another way I thought about that I could set it up would be to come in from the internet. Like if I had, let's say I have my main router here, and let's say it was on a 10.10.0/24 subnet. So we've got the internet coming in. We'll just call it iNet, and then I could come out of that router twice. This was the first scenario, one going to my LAN, and I could put it on a separate 10.10. Let's say 20.0/24 subnet, and then the DMZ zone would stay on the 0.24, so I would have my ESXi host down here, and then that would have the web server and the mail and anything else, any other services that I wanted accessible to the outside world. And then here I would just come out of here into my switch, and then I could have my LAN computers coming off of that, and this ETH1 could be assigned to the DMZ zone, ETH2 to the LAN, and both have separate subnets. Here I could also put the other switch in between the router and the ESXi host, and then I could plug other things into that DMZ, so that would give me expandability there. But there was another way too that I was looking at doing this, and y'all help me out with this in the comments, and kind of let me know what you think might be best. I do know that first scenario is probably the most secure, but another way I thought about doing it was having the first router here, and we could leave that on the same subnet, and then we'd come out of that router and we could come out of it, just out of one port, into, say, the 8-port switch, and then come out of it to the ESXi host. Now this is basically just like the other one, but the difference here now is going to be come out of that same switch into another router, and then we could assign the LAN port on this router to the 20.0, and of course the WAN port on this router would be assigned through DHCP from this router, and then come out of this router to the 16-port switch, and then go to the LAN computers. But the difference with this setup is that within this router, I believe I should be able to set up the DNS forwarding to where I can still have my internal DNS here for this switch network, but forward that DNS to this DNS server, and then forward this DNS server out to ISP DNS servers, or Google or OpenDNS, or whatever I wanted to use. But the difference there would be that I should be able to run DNS here for the DMZ zone, and then DNS here for the LAN, and then if a query isn't found on this server, it would forward to this one, and then it would be able to resolve to where I could actually open web pages on the LAN from the ESXi host on the DMZ. I think. I don't know if it would work that way. I've been pondering this a lot, trying to figure out the best way to do it, but the thing that scares me about this setup is that, well, it would all depend on how the firewall was set up in here, IP tables, because I think as long as I had the firewall set here, IP tables rules set to only allow established or related connections inside the network, and only allow connections from the LAN to this router, and of course masquerading and NAT would take over. We'd have ports NATed and forwarded here for the web server and the mail server, so they would communicate out publicly, but I would also need to access the mail server and the web server for my internal LAN. I've read a few different places of people assigning through NAT a different port or something like that, to forward to where you could access it internally with, say, port 8081 or whatever, and it would forward to the proper port on the web server. But externally from the internet, you would still just access it like normal. I don't know how that would work out, but anyway, I've just been pondering a lot of this. I did buy, also I ordered another small Lenovo ThinkCenter computer like the one that I have in my network closet running as my router right now, my main router, and I'm gonna create a router out of it in case I decide to go with this setup. So they're great little computers. This one's it's exactly the same model. It's got the dual core 2.33 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, which is way more than enough for a router. But and I'll be setting that up too. So I'm going to probably take y'all on a little bit of that journey, and I'm going to be tearing everything out of this network closet and attaching switches and stuff in the closet to get it all set up like I want it. Hopefully the shelves don't cave in on me from all the weight, because I'm starting to get a little bit of too much stuff in there, and the heat's probably going to begin to take over. That's one thing that concerns me, is I want to be sure that I keep ventilation pretty high in there, because I don't want to overheat any of the components. Right now everything stays pretty cool within the operating standards, so I'm good. But when I start cramming other boxes and switches in there, it may get a little overbearing, so I'll have to see how that works out. But anyway, I just wanted to post a little update on what's going on and what's going on in my head, and see what y'all thought. And if you'd be interested in seeing, some of the work I'm going to be doing on building the new router and setting up everything in the network closet, and going through this process of getting an actual physical DMZ set up here in my home, then let me know. Give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget the coffee. That's good. If you're doing Linux or videos or whatever, you gotta have your coffee. So again, this is Robert, and thank you for watching, and let me know what you think. And if you got any good ideas on this DMZ setup, or if you have any reasons as to why I should or should not do it one way or another, feel free to let me know in the comments. I appreciate your help, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.